Making your own bacon at home is a really easy process, a whole lot easier than what I realized when my husband and I did this for the first time. And we bought our first cut of pork belly from Costco, and it's probably best to get your pork belly from somewhere like Costco or Sam's Club, but this time we decided to go down to our local Food Lion and buy a pork belly from there. I did get these 2 cuts on sale, and I don't remember how many pounds each one was, but that's okay. We're going to make the brine for this, and this is what will cure your bacon. And so I added a cup of salt, 1/4 of a cup of apple juice, 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup, 1/2 of a cup of brown sugar, and about 2 teaspoons of black pepper. You will want to have a big enough container for your pork belly to fit into. You're going to leave this pork belly in this container for 5 to 7 days and come every day and turn the pork belly around in this brine. So I got my big Tupperware container and I put both of my pork bellies inside of here and made sure that the brine was covering both of them and turned them around in it. And I thought I was going to be able to get both of them in the Ziploc bag, but nope. So I hate that I mixed all this up in here. I would have normally put it in a bowl, but now I take a little bit more apple cider vinegar at this point and use it to get all the rest of the good stuff out of this bag. So don't do what I did, mix everything in a bowl and then try to find a big Tupperware container that you can put your pork belly in so that you don't run into this issue that I ran into. So I just mix this up really well, move both of the pork bellies around in this brine, and then I cover this up and put it in the refrigerator. And like I said, every day I come and I turn this meat over and make sure that it is fully covered on both sides with the brine. This is just an important part of the curing process for your bacon. So here I am, I think on day 5, coming in and just turning and rotating this meat. If you really saw it in the other video before it had sat in the brine for a while, you can see the changes that have happened to the meat. There's a little bit of pink color from probably the apple juice, and the meat is a whole lot more stiff. It doesn't feel as soft as it did. So this is the curing process of the meat. So on day 7, I took my meat out of the refrigerator and I rinsed the meat off very well. And you might think that this is crazy, like why are you rinsing off all of the good stuff on the meat? But when you fry your bacon, you don't want too much of this sugar and maple syrup on the outside because it will burn when you are frying this up. So here I am just really rinsing this really well, and I'm going to put it on I'm rinsing this with cold water. I'm going to put it on a cookie sheet, both of these pieces of pork belly, and then I am going to let them sit for about 45 minutes to come to room temperature a bit before I put them on the smoker. Now you can cook this in the oven. You do not have to have a smoker. You can cook this in the oven at 200 degrees and just make sure you test the internal temperature of the meat, because you don't want the internal temperature of the meat to get above 150. So I have a smoker outside, and it actually has probes that I can use with the meat that I am able to stick into the center of my meat. My grill has 2 probes, and I plug them in, and my grill also has an app, so I'm able to kind of monitor the temperature of the internal temperature of my meat from inside on an app on my phone. So I'm just coming out here, starting my grill. You want to put your smoker on 200 degrees, and I'm just checking to make sure that my pellets are good. And I waited for that to get heated up, and while I did that, I went ahead and inserted my probes into the center of the meat the best that I could. When my smoker reached temperature, I did clean this. I didn't show you that, but I did clean the grates of my grill off, and I just placed the meat out here on my smoker. One is smaller than the other, so you will see that the smaller one did get done before the bigger one. I put it fat side up, plug in my probes, and just kind of monitor this and watch for it to get to an internal temperature of 150 degrees. So the smaller pork belly, like I said, was ready probably about 30 minutes before the larger one, so I came and pulled that smaller pork belly off of the smoker and just took it inside and put a little bit of foil over it and just let it rest until I could come out here and get the bigger piece of meat. So now the bigger pork belly is ready. I came out here to get that and put it on the cookie sheet. I took the probe out of the smoker and turned my smoker off, and these are ready. They're practically at this point cooked all the way through. You want pork's internal temperature to be 145 to 150 degrees, and at this point, I mean, you could eat this pork belly. It is done. But we are going to wrap this up in some cling wrap and then wrap it up in some foil, and we're going to let both pieces sit in the refrigerator for 24 hours. This is to let the meat rest and also let it be a lot colder so that it is much easier for me to cut the meat. So after 24 hours, I get this out and I am able to cut it. You do want to cut your meat against the grain. So if you look at the sides, you can tell by looking at it what side looks like bacon. So you want to make sure that you have a very sharp knife, and you want to cut your meat as thick or as thin as you want it. It is much harder to get thin cut bacon cutting it by hand, so a lot of my pieces are a whole lot thicker than what you would find at the grocery store, but my family is okay with that and we like bacon that thick. So I do have a meat cutter. We invested in a meat cutter, and it is a whole lot easier to cut the meat and get it at the thickness that you want it, but it is a whole lot more to clean in the end. You have to take the whole machine apart and clean it after you're done. So my husband wasn't home to help me with the meat cutter. He usually helps me with the blade. It is extremely sharp. But we do have that and we do enjoy using it, but I prefer to use it when he's home. So I just went ahead and cut all of this meat by hand. And like I said, you want to have an extremely sharp knife to do this process or you're going to wear yourself out. So I did cut about half of this, took a break, cut the other half, and then I cut the smaller one about the same, cut it half of it, and then took a break and then cut the other half because my hand was getting tired and so was my arm cutting this. So like I said, I recommend a meat cutter, but It's totally doable. I cut all of this by hand and got it pretty much the same cut all the way through with all of it. So right away, I'm going to cook some of this bacon up. It's so good, and we hadn't had breakfast yet, so it was a perfect opportunity to give this a taste and see how I did. So I just get my cast iron pan out. That is my preferred method of cooking bacon around here, and I put several slices in this pan. Cooked it up. As you can see in the end, it looks just like bacon that you'd buy at the store. Well, it does here as well. And this cooked up delicious. We cooked it up the way we like it. You cook your bacon the way you like it. If it doesn't look like the way you like your bacon, that's okay. And we enjoyed this for breakfast. And we also had some pumpkin bread with this. It was so good. So I don't throw out my drippings from my bacon. I always keep it, and it's always good to keep that for cooking green beans or really anything that you want to fry up. Bacon grease is a very healthy thing to cook with, even though, you know, we're told that it's not. It is. I keep it. I cook with it. It's good to fry up some potatoes in. So as you can see, I got this all fried up the way we like it, and my son smelled this and he came in and he pretty much ate most of this, so it did not last very long. So it's a moment of truth, the time to taste the bacon. It's so good. It tastes good. It's salty and sweet and delicious. So it tastes just like bacon you'd buy at the store. Hard to eat just one piece. Really enjoy this bacon. So this bacon ended up giving me some ends. You'll have some ends that you're not able to cut up very well, no matter how you cut it up. So I just cut them into little cubes and I save them, and they're good to cook for to make bacon bits or a base to like a soup or a stew that you're making. I kind of eyeballed these. I've weighed them out in the past, but this time I just eyeballed about 1 pound, and I put 1 pound in each of these bags, and I think I ended up with 5 pounds in the bags. This one you can see I put a little bit more in that one, just in case we had a day that we had company and we needed a little bit more than 1 pound. So I got about 5 bags of bacon, and then I got a pretty good sized bag of the little bacon ends that I will turn into bacon bits. So this was a productive day. Really easy to make this. I know it took a week, but it wasn't a lot of hands-on. Very simple process, easy to do at home. It's delicious. You know what's in your food when you do it this way. It does take a little bit more work than just going down to the grocery store and buying it, but it's rewarding to know what's in it, and you can control the flavor of your food as well. So I appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to watch my vlog. Please subscribe and like this video if you found value in it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.